If there's one thing I've learned from Shia LaBeouf, it's that money never sleeps. On this episode of Big Boy Pants Golf, I've got Jake Span Golf with me again,
Yeehaw, folks. Yeehaw.
and we are going into one of the more interesting / odd points that's come up right now is that this guy who I have never heard of him before, Rory mentioned him, and Rory mentioned him like it was a matter of fact, like everyone knows who this guy is. His name is Jimmy Dunn. He's the architect of the PGA Tour Live Golf deal. And in this Sports Illustrated article, he lays out the details.
And we're going to read this out for you guys. We're reacting to this as we get this out because honestly, this is so important to just start this conversation because holy cow, it makes zero sense when we learn more about this guy's character that he's even involved in the conversation. So please, let's start this off.
Jimmy Dunn was the first link between the PGA Tour and Live Golf, and now Jimmy Dunn shares exclusive details from inside the negotiations, how the deal will evolve, and why many people today have misunderstood what it all means. And of course, he has to say this now because there's been such a backlash.
Seriously, if you haven't heard the comments yet, you will. Stay tuned, folks. At 7:10 a.m. on April 18th, Jimmy Dunn sent a WhatsApp message to Yasser Al-Rumayyan, the governor of the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund.
You know what's interesting about this to me, Jake Span Golf, is that this is April 18th. So I want to go back to April 18th and the following months to see if the whole blood money, anti-Saudi live narrative was going on even after he had met with them.
Yeah, because off the top of my head, I can't remember exact dates on just how hard in the paint Monahan and others were still going. Obviously, this is before Brooks Koepka's win at the PGA. This is one of those that where we just don't know the timeline right here. So, do they start cooling down at this point, or are they still going hard in the paint? But even more awkward to me is I'm not sure how I feel about a WhatsApp message being the opening line of communication between a PGA Tour executive and the governor of Saudi Arabia's PIF fund. This just seems kind of odd to me. I don't know.
Let me know if I'm wrong, but isn't April 18th slightly before the Masters? Can you fact check that?
I can't off the top of my head, but I think that's actually after the Masters. 3 days after.
So he sent this out 3 days after with the live golfers doing so well, basically.
Yes. So this is like the beginning of the tide changing as far as the conversation point. Oh, snap, we only have one golfer better than the entire live tour. We need to fix this. That was kind of the vibes. If you guys remember that was basically the vibes out there. We started seeing people all of a sudden going, no, Brooks Koepka's one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys, gosh darn it. But you know, this is that time of the series. But again, very weird that a WhatsApp message is what's going on. And also very weird that it's just 3 days after the Masters.
And to me, it's weird that he would just be able to WhatsApp, as you pointed out, Yasser Al-Rumayyan with, my name is Jimmy Dunn. I'm a member of the tour policy board. I'd like the opportunity for a call and hopefully a visit.
Yeah, that makes no sense. The governor of the PIF fund, this is somebody who is high up. This would be the equivalent of me sliding in Ryan Reynolds' DMs and saying, hey, bro, want to be besties?
Or, hey, let's start another phone service company together.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, we'll do Foxtrot Mobile. Come on now. No, that's the equivalent, guys, of what's going on here. And you're telling me this actually happened?
I love how Sports Illustrated also adds Al-Rumayyan had spent billions of PIF money funding the Upstart Live Tour. Dunn was not sure how he would react. You kind of left a lot out of what you did in terms of your smear campaign there.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, this is, as you can tell from that message that was said, this was unprovoked. This was on an olive branch from Dunn himself, not at the request of the PIF.
And if you remember initially when Greg Norman and Liv just started and they were getting grilled and they were saying they wanted to be a part of the ecosystem, and the PGA Tour side was very adamantly against that and saying that they were actually obviously the bad guys and they were trying to vilify them the whole time. So this is quite a turn of events as per this Sports Illustrated article, if we can believe it. Probably more spin.
Yeah, it has to be because SI has been in bed with the PGA Tour for quite a bit of time. We don't really trust their narrative anymore because they basically are watchdogging for them. The moment this story broke, all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, this is amazing for the PGA Tour. This is the greatest thing ever. This is not how they started treating it. And it doesn't make any sense to me at all, because it's just, where is this coming from? Why are we just now hearing about this guy? This feels like the Ben Bernanke kind of situation, where it's just, he's the guy we're going to drag out here and make him act like he was the mastermind, so that when it goes bad, we can just blame it on him and say, it wasn't Jay Monahan.
Well, exactly right. In terms of the next line, I think they were just honestly happy we had taken the time to meet with them. Dunn told SI Thursday, and I think he was somewhat surprised that we reached out directly. So now they're just creating this whole new narrative, because they've got to see how they can better sell this to the public, right?
I mean, I guess so. They have to make it sound like it was the PGA Tour's idea and not the PIF's idea. Not something. They have to make it sound like it's something that's good, that the PGA Tour wanted, and not something that the Saudi Arabian government was like, hey, let's get on that biscuit. The next thing that goes on here in this article, it goes, Dunn flew to England in late April and had dinner with Al Ramian. They followed it with a cigar that evening and a round of golf at Beaverbrook Golf Club. Anyone have any photos of that? Please send them in. I would love to see that photos. Somebody has to have photos of that. It'd be hard to miss that guy. The groundwork was being laid for the deal that is both seismic and at this point largely misunderstood.
I think it's largely misunderstood because they're making it up as they go along. They've probably reached out to Kevin Costner, and he's writing up the perfect script, because you know what they have to do now is they have to look at all the ways they've smeared Liv and then try to chalk it up to some kind of misunderstanding or some lack of cultural knowledge. And we can watch this happen in real time now. And that's why the article, as you pointed out, Sports Illustrated has actively been doing this. The first article they put out yesterday or so was, hey, meet the new head of Live Golf and the PGA Tour.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. They're just making this up as it goes. But if they stick with Kevin Costner, they're going to end up plowing down an Iowa cornfield and trying to build a golf stadium in the hope of resurrecting Byron Nelson, which isn't going to work, guys. Sorry. Spoiler alerts.
Build it and they will come. Dunn laid out the parameters of the PGA Tour's deal with PIF to SI, because of course he did, because he asked for the meeting, he got it, and now he's obviously the leader.
He's clearly a genius.
So let's go through the parameters together. The PGA Tour will still be called the PGA Tour, but now Commissioner Jay Monahan also oversees Live Golf, and the PGA Tour remains a partner of the DP World Golf Tour, which is interesting to me because I brought this up in a tweet. The DP World Tour is obviously Dubai Ports World, a wholly owned Dubai company, and the UAE and Saudi Arabia are kind of big brother, little brother. They're number 1 and 2 in the region. And a lot of this is like they are competing for the same market and, for ego purposes, not just to grow their country's tourism.
It is kind of like hey, let's get the upper hand right here and just have one more opportunity to say we're better than you, yada, 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 So how much cooperation we see with the DP World Tour? Are we going to all of a sudden see the DP World Tour be a race to Jeddah instead of the race to Dubai?
I like how you did that. Let me go to the next sentence. Monahan has told Al Ramian they will evaluate Liv at the end of the year.
What?
Conflicting reports. We've had no news on Liv. Then all of a sudden it was going to be business as usual. And now they will evaluate Liv at the end of the year.
I'm not even sure. What? Okay, so yeah, because you're right, because Norman said that today, business as usual. We're going for 2024, 2025, 2026, same old. They're saying, hey, we're getting more opportunities as sponsors. And now they're saying, this guy is saying to SI, hey, we're going to reevaluate you guys at the end of the year and to see if we want to do something. The next sentence in this article goes, if Monahan wants to disband Liv, he can. So you're telling me crackhead Monahan has the authority to just disband Liv?
That's just another way for it to appear, like, as Rory said in his Canadian presser, that Monahan's in charge and he has the power, which may be put out there to alleviate people's narratives that now Saudi Arabia controls all of golf.
I can't believe that Monahan is actually going to have this kind of authority. I just can't believe that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And even if he does do that, I can see Liv trying to operate rogue, absent the PIF funds, but just taking the bag and running with it. We're trying to, at least, because Greg Norman ain't going to be Monahan's sock puppet.
If Liv golfers want to play on the tour, Monahan and the current PGA Tour leaders have to approve the terms.
So basically, he's just saying like, hey, if Bryson wants to come back, if Matty Wolf wants to come back, if any of them want to come back at all, which we have no clue if any of them ever want to come back, I certainly would. Live looks a whole lot more fun to me. I mean, wearing shorts, listening to music, having a set tee time. Are you kidding? The set tee time alone makes Live Golf infinitely better than the PGA Tour. That's beside the point. So he's trying to say that if they want to come back, we have to accept it on our terms. So it's basically also arbitrary to where he's basically saying if Mickelson wants to come back, he might have to do more than like DJ. Is that fair?
Totally fair. It's even weirder with the next line where it says Monahan has banned them. It is presumed that penalties to return to the tour will be significant, even though it seemed on CNBC yesterday everything was one big happy family.
Yeah, you can't. This doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't be one big happy family, but still like, hey, blame Sergio for smashing your car into his window last weekend.
The next line seems to be completely refuted by the CNBC interview in that PIF is not actually contributing anything directly to the PGA Tour or its players. I guess it will just be because the entity above controlling everything. But he specifically said there was like billions thrown around. The B word was used.
Yeah.
And now it says not actually contributing anything directly to the PGA Tour or its players. PIF will instead get right of first refusal to be the Tour's investment partner through a new company the Tour is creating. What does this mean? And this explanation is like, I don't know. Well, let's say the Tour wants to buy Pebble Beach. PIF has the right to be its partner. The Tour will be the controlling partner in any investments.
So this is basically saying that, like, hey, any new TPC courses, you have the opportunity to be the owner of those or the investment partner of them. Is that correct? Is that what I'm reading? Is that what I'm understanding right there?
I'm not going to overly fixate on it because tomorrow we may be reading a whole new set of parameters.
Next point. PIF has not promised a single dollar in investments, and the Tour has not promised the Saudis anything other than the right of first refusal. No guarantee of tournament sites or sponsorships or anything else. It is presumed, however, that the Saudis will want to be financially involved as possible as they can, and that the Tour will welcome sponsorship opportunities with its new investment partner.